I see an important distinction to be understood. We're surrounded by more ways to communicate, more platforms to share, more opportunities for constant interaction than any generation in history. Yet, if you look closely at the people who seem to have genuine wisdom, not just information or opinions, but real understanding, you'll notice something striking. They tend to gravitate towards solitude, not the forced isolation of depression or social anxiety, but a chosen quietude that seems to emerge naturally from their way of being. It's as if the deeper their understanding becomes, the less compelled they feel to constantly express it or seek validation through connection.
But doesn't that seem selfish? If someone has wisdom or insight, shouldn't they want to share it with others who are struggling?
That's exactly the question that we need to investigate. What's underneath that assumption? This idea that wisdom needs to be shared, that understanding isn't complete until it's communicated? But what if the opposite is true? What if the compulsion to constantly share insights, to always be available for others, to never just sit quietly with what we've discovered? What if that very compulsion indicates we haven't fully integrated our understanding yet? When you're still getting a psychological payoff from being seen as wise, still needing others to validate your insights, still feeling restless when you're not expressing your thoughts. That's the personality using spiritual understanding for its own continuation. The person who has truly absorbed their realizations doesn't feel pressure to prove them or share them. They've discovered something profound about the relationship between genuine understanding and the need for external confirmation.
Are you saying that choosing solitude is actually a sign of spiritual maturity?
It's more nuanced than that. The solitude I'm pointing to isn't a rule or a practice. It's what naturally emerges when someone has done the deep work of investigating their own psychological patterns. They've become intimate with every way the ego tries to use spiritual insights to feel special or important. They've become so familiar with the seeking mind's strategies that they can spot them immediately. When the impulse to give unsolicited advice arises, they see it clearly. When the desire to be seen as profound appears, they recognize it. When the restlessness of not being needed or noticed comes up, they know that too. This isn't suppression. It's such clear seeing that these movements lose their compelling power. Think about the people in your life who feel most genuinely peaceful. Don't they tend to be comfortable with silence? Not awkward or withdrawn, but settled in their own presence?
That makes sense, but doesn't it lead to isolation?
Not really. When you've seen through the ego's hijacking of wisdom, what emerges is not forced isolation, but a natural choicelessness about engagement. Sometimes connection happens, sometimes it doesn't. But there's no longer a someone who needs to be useful or needed or seen as wise. The personality has been so thoroughly understood that it can't turn spiritual insights into food for its own sense of importance anymore. True solitude isn't about avoiding people. It's about discovering what you actually are beyond the constant mental commentary about yourself and others. Service becomes much more natural and spontaneous. You respond when response is called for, but you're not driven by the need to be needed. And here's the ultimate recognition that emerges from that understanding. There was never actually a separate someone who could possess wisdom or serve others in the first place. What we discover in genuine solitude isn't just peace and quiet. It's the recognition that what we truly are has no boundaries, no inside or outside. The solitude dissolves into the recognition that everything, every person we thought we were separate from, every problem we thought we needed to solve, is the same undivided awareness appearing as apparent multiplicity. This doesn't create indifference or withdrawal. It reveals that connection and solitude are both perfect expressions of what we actually are. The deepest solitude reveals the deepest intimacy, not with other people necessarily, but with the very nature of existence itself. In that clarity, everything that seemed like a problem, our need for connection, our desire to help, Even our spiritual seeking itself is revealed as consciousness, perfectly exploring what it's like to apparently not know itself. It's about becoming so intimate with the mechanisms of the seeking, performing, validating self that wisdom is no longer hijacked by the personality's need to be someone special. The solitude of the wise isn't withdrawal from this cosmic play. It's the most complete participation in it that's possible.